by this sharing of responsibility between each of those entities I mentioned.
How would you select Supreme Court nominees?
I would say that it's important, number one, that I will ask each of these individuals, do you support the constitutional rights of the American people? I would obviously pick the most distinguished scholars. I would pick individuals that, you know what, this is what I would do. You know what I would ask them? I'm going to set some. This is what I would ask. I would say, do you believe Roe versus Wade is settled law? And if they say yes, they have a good chance of being picked. If they say no, I say this because, you know, we always dance around this issue. And the response I gave you to constitutional rights involves that, you know, we're going to protect privacy. I'm also going to ask them, you do support civil rights, right? Nominee. You support the right of privacy, right? You support, now, you know, I want Supreme Court, you know, this is going to lead me into an issue that involves our values as a country. You know, what are we known for today? You know, around the world, and this is what would kind of be part of my Supreme Court questions and thinking as I put men and women on the court that are going to shape policy for generations. You know, that's the biggest legacy of the president. And we're already paying for the Bush legacy with these last few decisions on privacy and choice with this Supreme Court. It's a 5-4 court, almost automatically. Would be this. When I'm president, we're going to restore habeas corpus. We're going to shut down law. We're going to say that we're for civil rights and affirmative action. You know what else we're going to say? We're going to be a nation that will not discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation. We're going to say that torture as a legal policy, waterboarding, you know, sinking somebody's head in the water, will not be tolerated. We're also going to say that Abu Ghraib and secret prisons are going to be closed. We're also going to say that internationally, we're going to abide by the International Criminal Court. We're going to abide by systems in this country where the Universal Declaration of Human Rights means something. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for. Individuals that respect those tenets of our law. And then internationally, we're going to be a country that not just rejoins the Kyoto Treaty, but is going to lead. And it's going to maybe scrap it to make it happen.
Thank you, gentlemen. I have time for one last question. That way you get a chance to possibly speak with the governor after we're done. So this question being, what is your stance on illegal immigration? And how will it affect the November 2008 election?
I have to deal with this issue every day as a governor in Mexico. We have 4 border states. We're one of them. 2 years ago, I declared a border emergency. I was the first governor to do that. The flow of people coming in, drugs, violence, my constituents saying, do something. Federal government wasn't doing it. And so I ordered a border emergency enabling the state to hire law enforcement to deal with a terrible problem. This is what I would do. And I am hopeful for the first time. You know, I trashed the Congress and the president for a dysfunctional relationship. I have. They get nothing done. However, on immigration, they seem to be flickers that they may do something. That's good. After this energy bill, that they will resume debate on immigration, which I believe is really needed because it's divisive. It is dividing this country. There's uncertainty. There's tension. I know in your minds you're debating, how do I stand on this issue? Because you want to protect American jobs. You want be sure that we're doing the right thing. This is what I want, and part of this is in the congressional bill. One, we do need to have stronger border security, and that means doubling perhaps the number of border patrol agents, technology at the border. There is a problem. That is number one. Now, am I for this wall? No. A wall between two countries. They're going to build, it's a 10-foot wall. First of all, the Congress didn't fund the whole thing. It's a 10-foot wall. You know what's going to be built? 11-foot ladders. But I do believe I'm not trying to be facetious, but that's what's happening. When people are desperate, they want to feed their families. So, yes, more border security, more border patrol, no question. More technology to detect that flow. That's one. Number two, it's called foreign policy. It's called a relationship with a friend, Mexico. And I want you to be the president of Mexico when I say this. And I'm the president of the United States, and we're having, you know, they have these summit meetings with the big flags, and they talk and say, well, today we settled immigration. You know, they don't do it. Not all the time. I would say to you, I'd say, Mr. President, on the immigration issue, Mexico needs to do something. You're doing nothing. You've got to do something to help feed your people, to give jobs to your people. You've got to work with us to create jobs, maybe on the border, where you are doing something to help your people. But at the very least, stop giving them maps on the most porous areas in the American border. And that's called a frank discussion among friends.
And if I were the Mexican president, I'd say, what would you suggest?
Well, what I would suggest is joint border job programs, joint patrols, law enforcement, because we've got to enforce the law. What I would also say is that there have to be employer sanctions. If you knowingly hire, illegal workers, there should be a fine. It's a joke. It's not enforced. And then here's and then there's another one. I would raise the legal immigration numbers for those that have special job skills or don't necessarily involve those from Mexico or Latin America, maybe skilled in agricultural trades, European folks. That should be increased. The problem with that is that there's a huge bureaucratic backlog. And now the tough part, the legalization. And this is where I hope my 11% doesn't go down. But this is what I believe, and this is what I think is a sensible way to deal with this issue. What are you going to do with the 12 million that are here? We have three options as a country. The first one is to do nothing. Leave things the way they are. Politicians like, don't rock the boat. That, I believe, is the worst alternative, because there's uncertainty. Local law enforcement here in Iowa are going to say, well, we got to take these steps. We got to arrest them. And because there's no federal government. No federal government doing anything. So that's option number one. Option number two is we're going to deport them. We're going to track them down and take them across the border. And I said, oh yeah, well, who's going to do this? Who's going to find them? Who's going to pay for their way back? What happens to small businesses? What happens to agriculture? What happens to half of the hotels in this country and restaurants? So that's not America. What are we going to just round them up? That's not America. All right. So then the third option, which is messy, but at least makes a start, is take the 12 million. Don't give them amnesty. Don't give them citizenship. Let them earn citizenship over a period of time.